Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Hello everybody, welcome back to 2FAST2MOVIE. I'm your host for the day, Abraham. With me, once again, we got Ben Collins in the studio to talk about another episode of Attack on Titan. Ben, we just got done watching an episode of Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
How was it, in your opinion?
Very, honestly, pretty dang good. This season, I think was one of the slower episodes of Attack on Titan, though, because normally it feels like we just blow through content and beats, and this one, they really had us hanging on the edge of our seat the entire time. They wanted to milk every possible second of tension for this one, so that we could just get a big old Titan blow up at the end and be hype as fuck for next episode.
There's so much to talk about in this episode, and we're going to break it all down. So be sure to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell for notifications. And hey, if you're done here, click this link here in the top right-hand corner. You can actually watch our reaction to Attack on Titan Season 4, Episode 5. We don't normally do that, but it's a special treat for you guys. And spoilers ahead for this episode of Attack on Titan titled Declaration of War. So, let's first start off with the play itself. We're shown the information that our characters know. You know, Helos, a Marleyan hero, was able to defeat the Eldians as they were infighting hundreds of years ago. And what we come to learn is that Helos is actually a made-up persona crafted by the Tibers and King Fritz, the king inside the walls. After crafting this persona, the king fled inside the walls to enjoy his paradise, hence the name Paradise Islands. The play concludes by announcing that the new founding titan, Eren Yeager, is now the true enemy that must unite humanity. So we actually kind of already knew a lot of this information. I don't think we obviously didn't know anything about Helos, but we knew that King Fritz was always a peaceful man. Too much to his detriment, honestly, because even though he was peaceful, he was doing it at the
expense of everyone.
Yeah, at the expense of everyone in the island, and it also didn't solve the problem.
Well, it probably worked closer to the beginning when there were people in living memory that understood the peace treaty, but a lot of the sin here actually lies on the government of Marley for making up the myth that this didn't happen, that he was just a savage and that everyone on the island were savages. So of course, later down the line, they're like, hey, let's go retreat the founding titan and then fuck everything up.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's been so long, and thankfully for the people behind the island, it wasn't the case that the king was in power, because based off of what we know, he probably would have sacrificed himself and potentially even all of the other Eldians over to the Marleyan government.
Well, here's the thing, because they say that the founding titan can control every Eldian, essentially, and to some degree. So, as soon as the king of the walls realized that titans were invading, he could have stopped them. But he didn't. He chose not to do that. And they made mention that he believed that everybody in the walls was past the point of salvation, like that we just have to accept the burden of our ancestors. That was his belief. That's why they lived in cages. That's why the Titans roamed around as long as they did and nothing was done about it.
Interesting.
Yeah, which is kind of screwed up. But more so than that, going into the next point, we learn about something called the rumbling. We've actually known for a while that there's been titans in the walls. As early back as season 1, when Annie and Eren were having that fight and they ripped open a part of the wall and there's like a titan face in it, we've known that there's at least one. And apparently King Fritz made a declaration saying, if you ever try to interrupt my paradise, I will flatten the earth with all the titans in the walls. Obviously, it was BS, as Tiber explains, But now that Eren has the founding Titan, now we have to kind of consider the possibility that he could use that.
Well,
if he learns to control the power.
The terrifying thing about that is, so we know that there's no more Titans on Paradis that are just roaming free. They exterminated all the rogue ones. That's the reason why they were able to reach the sea so easy.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen Paradise at all this season. A
Paradise
without
got an army
walls
of Titans
would look drastically different.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that's terrifying is the fact that they sent 32 ships over, all of which sank. The fact that we know that they don't really possess the technology for heavy artillery unless they were trading with other people. Odds are those ships were sunk by some big daddies. Also,
they had to be sunk by Titans. They did say that. It's unclear because it could have been Eren and Armin or maybe Annie's Titan if they were able to get that. Who knows?
But we're not. There's a lot we do not know right now.
We don't know.
We do not know.
We've literally only seen Eren and like John's shadowed face under like the brim of a hat. That's it. That's all we've seen.
Yep.
So who knows if they've progressed?
We did get some Armin today though. We did get some Armin.
Here's another thing. Is that Armin? Because like
it looks like it.
It looks like him, but also it does not sound like him sometimes. It kind of sounds like Hanji. It sounds like a woman's voice.
Armin always sounds like a bitch. What are you talking about?
But it's been 4 years.
It's fucking Armin. No, he was past the point of having a voice crack. No, they keep the same voice actor for that shit. And that voice actor sounded like a little bitch.
Fair.
I'm sorry. You do a lovely job. I need to pull up the IMDb page. But no, the voice acting's fantastic. It fits the character. Armin's always going to be a squeaky boy. And honestly, it's very fitting that Armin would take Berthold's Titan. Because Berthold, while he was a very tall, lanky dude, just like Armin apparently is now, he was also a sweet, sweet soul. Just like how Armin is also a sweet, sweet boy.
And now he's trapping Titans in holes. Oh yeah, no,
that was fucking brutal. Yeah, God. That was...
That actually brings up another point. There's the Attack Titan and the Colossal Titan in Marley right now. So all it takes... And we've already seen that in a war setting, one blast and it's like a nuke. Just everything.
Yeah, from the...
level.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Oh, no.
Yeah, so if he's here and he transforms, it's game over.
So I guess why didn't they do that then? If their goal... That's an interesting point. If their goal is to actually wipe out everyone, wouldn't they just use the Colossal Titan for one swift blow?
That's my point. I don't think... That's why I'm hesitant to say that that's Armin. Even though, like, I looked at it and I was like, that looks kind of like Armin, blonde hair.
We gotta wait till next episode, I guess.
We gotta hear the reasoning. Because we still don't know 100% what their plan is. But... moving on then to the next part of the episode, because we do got to move on. Let's talk about Reiner. So we're shown a portion from the previous episode. And, that's of Annie, Bertolt, and Reiner talking about the man who did hang himself. And Bertolt claims that he may have wanted to be judged by someone before his passing. Funny thing, this actually comes full circle for Reiner as he sits with Eren and discusses his actions on the island and the motive behind them. So it was really nice that did tie into this episode, and I like that full circle came through. When talking about this scene, we got to first, just right at the gate, he basically has a loaded gun to his face. Reiner does. Because Eren is basically pointing up at the ceiling and saying, like, yep, there's crowds of people up there, and you just see his bloodied hand, and Falco's like, oh, Mr. Kruger, you paper cut? He's like, yeah, something like that. Have a seat, kid.
Oh, gosh.
So, it's a tone setter for sure.
Reiner's actions throughout this, because Reiner, for the most part, has to sit and listen to Eren the entire time, and we finally get him coming back. And one of the interesting things about this being potentially fueled by fear is that it's also fueled by remorse. We see
100%.
Reiner grovel at Eren's feet, asking for him to be killed and for him to be killed alone. Because the fact of the matter is that it is true, Eren may have had the Founding Titan at that time, but he likely never would have started down this path if it weren't for Reiner.
Yeah.
And Reiner knows that this entire war falls on his head. He has to.
But that's the thing about this whole show, is that everybody's trying to prescribe blame for a conflict that's been going on for thousands of years. I mean, Willy, like, even though obviously, like, he has good intentions, him blaming the island and scapegoating Eren does nothing to solve and does nothing to address the issue that Eren's mom, and he brings this up, Eren was eaten like, they had no memories of any of the past conflicts. They didn't know that Titans were people, none of that. And then this one act changed his whole world.
Yeah.
I totally understand where Reiner's coming from, that he feels like he's to blame, but he's really not. And that's, I think, why he's such a likable character, and the only reason why, one of the main reasons why I think him in this position, even though he's taken all of the actions that he has, why he seems redeemable, even in this moment.
You have to wonder if people knew the content that was being told by Willy Tybur to the rest of the world about the actual situation on Paradise, would any of this have ever actually happened?
Probably not, because the king didn't want conflict. I mean, as horrible of an idea as it is to just up and leave and abandon the fight because you don't feel like it, he had all the power in the world to say, I don't want to do this, stop, or else I'll kill you all.
Yeah.
And that worked for a time.
It just took Marleyans needing to weaponize their people to actually change the battlefield. Because I don't think the Marleyan lie would have worked if people knew about this.
Oh, God, no. It would not have. The only reason why the conflict is going is because they feel like King Fritz is like an evil person who's like scheming in the background, always a looming like an evil wizard in a tower who's gonna one day just strike upon the land and kill everyone in an instant. But that's not the case. And if they had known the truth from the start, then maybe things would have been different.
Yeah.
But who knows?
The other piece of this, again, we get him groveling, and for the first time with Reiner, at least, we're not getting any mixed messages. We're certainly getting some mixed messages from Eren. That's another story. But we also have to keep in mind that Falco's here for the entirety of this. Falco's getting a true history lesson, both through the audio play in the background and the very real shit happening in front of his eyes.
Yep.
That then boils over into one hell of an entrance for Eren.
Yeah, it does. It's also funny because as soon as Eren because here's the thing about this whole conversation, and because we're about to talk about Eren, but it's very interesting that the parallels between Eren and Reiner are taken to their full extent, because up to this point, Eren is just like Reiner. He's a person who maybe was not the strongest, but he had like a strong will, kept persevering in the face of defeat, and was pushed into doing things because of his circumstances. And now that he has crossed the sea, and now that he's seen people living just as he did inside the walls, he still consciously makes the choice to continue the conflict. So let's cap off the review by talking about Eren. So we've talked before that Eren obviously seems different. Pretty big understatement. But, that trend does continue in this episode. We've already discussed that he had the entire conversation with Reiner, at gunpoint, essentially. But he also does this knowing that there are crowds of families in the building above him. And just like Reiner did on Paradis, Eren recognizes the humanity of the people in Marley, but chooses to continue the conflict by transforming in the basement and killing Willy Tiber, along with, there was a shot of like a guy getting smashed by a rock. The VIPs are probably dead in the front row. All those people he met and schmoozed at the dinner party.
Yeah,
they're probably gone.
We're dealing with a lot right now. Again, this episode is fucking loaded.
Yeah.
I think real quick, but gosh, like where do we start on this? We know something's up with Willy Tiber.
We have suspicions that this whole situation, because Willy's acting very strange in the episode. He's like, when he's performing, he's like, or when he's backstage, he's like looking in the mirror, right? And then before he's about to blame Eren for the travesty of everything, he like looks off to his family and is like, this is my judgment. So it wasn't at the fact that he revealed the truth that he said that. It was the blaming of Eren when he made that choice to look at his family for the last time. There's also the conversation that happened last episode about the rats in the building. It's the building that Eren is in this episode.
Is it?
Because it's the one behind the stage.
So the question about that implies that they set this up knowing that Eren would pick that specific building.
Or maybe they knew that was like a hiding place for him. I'm not sure.
I have a different take for you.
Go for it.
What if the building's the audience?
Oh, yeah. You think that the entire thing is a metaphor for the building? Is just like because the Marley top brass is there.
Marley top brass.
The VIPs, the press from everywhere.
We know for a fact that Willy Tiber does not see the way that Eldians are being treated across the globe as a good thing. We all know that he sees it as an unnecessary prejudice for a people that do not actually hold these sins anymore. Mm-hmm. And certainly, even if there was past wars and etc., they're just people. And he's one of the few... It's strange because he's one of the few Eldians to actually live a life of comfort for the reason of his royal status and holding on to a Titan himself. If he wanted to get rid of some people with very strong ideologies against Eldians, this is a good way to do it. And by setting up that scapegoat of Eren, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Of course, it makes sense that he would rise as the immediate target, being the one giving the play. And honestly, this is...
For them, it's a perfect situation because not only do Willy and everybody else die as martyrs, but it's undeniable proof that Eren is a threat. Which then begs the question, did Eren fall for the bait, or does he just not care? Because one is an oversight, and the other is blatant disregard for human life.
This is my issue, and this is the reason why I'm a little scared about this season. I'm really worried that Eren has gone full-on extremist. And it's really scary to me that the idea that after he's lived and walked with all of these people and seen that they're the same as him, that he still decides that they're all just as bad as the Titans. We do not know a lot about Eren's ideology right now, and that's the thing that is unnerving me. I want to know what his reasonings are for this. But as we've said in previous episodes, they're bringing him as an antagonist, as someone that is just doing for all intents and purposes, what he's doing is evil. Because even if just the fact that he's making the choice to still see these people as human and then still kill every family in the building above him. I'm okay with top brass dying at the point where you are in government control and are making decisions like that. You sign up for a life of having a target on your back.
Right.
But bringing innocent bystanders into this is a different story altogether.
But here's the thing, and here's why I'm torn on this subject, is because Eren was born. I mean, it's a line that's in the show a lot. He was born into this world. He is a product of his circumstances. If he hadn't been attacked the day that if his village hadn't been invaded by Reiner and Berthold, if that hadn't happened, then, and also he had this undying hatred for Titans, and he said, like, I'm going to kill every last Titan. And when you learn that the Titans are just a byproduct of a greater enemy, that anger is just redirected. So unfortunately, I'd have to say that this is the latter, that he just doesn't care.
That's where I'm at.
Because it's all and even the last scene in season 3 where he was, I mean, we say it all the time, he was looking up and saying, like, if we just kill everybody over there, will we finally be free? So maybe he's doing that.
In a perfect world, I would like to see some serious flashbacks and that this was orchestrated with Tiber, and that the people in that building were actually military or something that was not what we were shown on screen.
I don't think that. No,
it's a real fucking long shot. It's a real
I think
fucking
because
long shot.
if he was conspiring with Tiber, I don't think he would have said, "Oh yeah," I don't think he would have threatened Reiner with the families in the thing. I don't know. That seems like a weird.
I think it's still plausible. Eren can lie. We
Maybe.
don't know how much of the information that he gave Reiner was true, and from anyone that's watched a movie knows that what you see sometimes isn't always what happens.
Yeah, there could be a grand plan that Eren has, especially if Marley and Paradis are going to be in a full-blown conflict. This might be just something that, I don't know, might lead to something greater.
Not only that, we know there's a solid chance that Armin's here. And Armin has always taken the role of the strategist before the fighter.
Mm-hmm.
If Eren has all the backing that he had previously, they definitely have a plan. This is not just a fluke of circumstances. They know exactly what they're setting themselves up for.
They totally do. But then again, that brings it into the question: are they okay with this?
I don't know. The lines are muddled, and just the implications for the future. The entire world is now going to be seeing Eren as a threat and Paradis as a threat, and this isn't good. This is...
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say this. This is not good for where our heroes are going to be finding themselves in, if we can even call them our heroes anymore.
Only time will tell, because we don't know their true motives yet. We've been away from them for so long. It's hard to tell where they stand in all of this. So hopefully we get to see some people in the next few episodes coming up. But let's quickly talk about the preview of Attack on Titan. We're going to be getting some good old-fashioned Titan fighting. We see the Warhammer Titan transforming, and the episode is actually going to be titled The Warhammer Titan. So the two big questions are, is Willy the Warhammer Titan, or is he just dead? And two, are Falco and Reiner okay, or are they just dead?
Okay, so my question on if he's the Warhammer Titan is so meta, but it really comes down to how many chapters he existed in the manga, because that man looks like he's difficult to draw. That is some character design.
I mean, they had Grisha in for God knows how long, and they've rarely ever shown him. I'm just saying...
That's a fair point.
Listen, if they wanted to be super crazy, they'd just be like, no, it wasn't him.
It's the small child
it's
that
the
you saw
child.
earlier. A toddler is going to fight Eren now.
But if Willy knows, and if this is all a bait, you wouldn't play your biggest card. That's another thing. So if this is all a bait and Willy is and Willy and Eren aren't in cahoots with each other, this would be a perfect setup that Eren is like, oh, I'm just going to take the Warhammer Titan. Wait a minute. This isn't it. And then psych, you thought. And then there's like a random person who's just like,
I don't know who, because really what it kind of comes down to, honestly, is character design. That's probably going to be the easiest way for us to pick out who it could be. I wish I scrolled through the family before this.
I did, and all of them look actually pretty distinct. Like, they look, especially the older people, the kids don't, like, the kids are just kids, but...
It would be the perfect bait and switch, I'm telling you, dude.
There's, like, an old guy with, like, robes. There's, like, a woman in, like, a regal dress with, like...
I kind of hope it's a lady. We need more lady Titans.
We need more female Titans. And now, are Falco and Reiner alive?
Well...
I brought up that it would make thematic sense if Reiner died.
Reiner's still alive. We have trailer footage to prove that he's going to be fighting in a city. Or at least...
Oh, he could die in this city, in this fight.
He could die in this fight, that is true. However, that trailer footage was during the day.
What if that's how long the fight goes?
Oh,
I don't
gosh.
know. Also, no, don't trust anything in the trailer. I actually looked at this. There's a lot of stuff that's not in the trailer that's like redrawn. They purposely redrew everything in the trailer. So don't take anything in the trailer for granted.
Oh no. Okay.
So Reiner could
totally be dead.
Could totally be dead.
Nope. Okay. I mean, I could see the issue here is that we were given a whole set of dialogue about how, yeah, it'd be really bad for two Titans to transform in the same room because one of them would definitely die. You can't do Titan transformation in confined spaces, otherwise you risk hurting the Titan and hurting anyone that you're with.
Yeah, so it would make a lot of sense if either Falco or Reiner died.
Yeah.
And though he had his head cut off, he got a sword stuck through his neck. What else happened to Reiner? There were like crazy stuff. Like he transformed his whole consciousness into his body.
Yeah.
He's gotten out of sticky situations before.
Yeah, no, he's very good at being a big fleshy mech suit. So
yeah,
we will see what happens. This is going to be a time. I still think that the Colossal Titan might make an appearance, depending on if it happens inside the city or outside the city is really going to let us know what people's intentions are. So
let's hope
fingers crossed.
Let's hope that it's not inside the city because I don't want to see that. But really, kudos to the writers, animators, and everyone who worked on this episode. Fantastic. Another great episode of Attack on Titan. As always, this is 2FAST2MOVIE. I'm Abraham. That's Ben. You can find us on really most places you find podcasts, Spotify and Amazon Music for one. Just look up Return to the Movie and you can find our podcast there. We're going to be covering Cobra Kai seasons 1, 2, and 3, so look out for that video pretty soon. Once again, you can also check out the reaction video to Attack on Titan Season 4, Episode 5. Just hit one of those buttons somewhere in the screen, and it'll take you there. And as always, it's 2FAST2MOVIE.